Hello and welcome to Odoo AI Today, a Novobi webinar that gives you the insights into what's possible with Odoo and AI in both Odoo 19 and earlier versions. I'm David Smith, Novobi's Chief Marketing Officer, host, and moderator for today's event. As you know, we're using Zoom for today's webinar. Zoom offers several useful features, and I want to highlight one that we'll use today. That's the Q&A feature. It's in your tray, so if you look down, you probably have it at the bottom of your screen. We'll use this feature to ask questions, and hopefully we'll get a chance to answer all of them today on the session. If you post a question and we don't get a chance to answer it, I'll follow up with you directly and make sure that you do receive a response. The webinar is being recorded, and we will post the recording to our website soon. Once we've done that, you'll receive an email ensuring that it's available to you. I encourage you to share the recording with anyone that might find it helpful. That's a colleague or a peer that wasn't able to attend that may be interested in Odoo or AI. Our session is scheduled for 45 minutes. During this time, you'll have a chance to participate in one or two polls. Those will come up during the course of the webinar, and we'll try to share the results with you after the polls are down. At the end of the session, you'll receive some exclusive offers that will help you explore your AI journey. So I hope you'll stay to the entire session. And we're going to start with a little AI perspective. And we're going to go over a little bit of where we are today as far as AI goes. We'll look at Odoo 19. We'll look at what's happening there and what's available in that release and that version. We're going to talk really slightly about upgrades. We don't want to spend a lot of time there, but we do want to address that, answer some questions. And then we're going to get into some pre-Odoo 19 use cases. And so that's the agenda today. What I want to do now is introduce our speakers or have them introduce themselves. So Jason, why don't you unmute for a second and introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, this is Jason Wong, lead consultant from Novobi. My background is about 10 years deep in Odoo implementation and business analysis. And today I'm going to walk you through some of the key features of Odoo 19.
Great. Thanks, Jason. Lee, will you do the same?
Hello everyone, Lilo, Senior Solution Architect at Novobi. I started my career as a software engineer. I specialize in ERP and e-commerce implementation. Today, I'm very excited to share with you some best practices around upgrade, AI adoptions, and also a couple of use cases where our client deploy AI successfully with their Odoo solution.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. So some of you may be wondering, why Novobi and why are we hosting an event on AI? And I want to address that. Novobi has been an Odoo partner for nearly 12 years. We are ranked among the top partners in the ecosystem, and we are the partner of choice for emerging mid-market businesses in the manufacturing, retail, and services space. Our heritage lies in a deep technical knowledge, but we're now complementing that with consultants with extensive industry knowledge. Our best clients view Odoo implementation as a business initiative, not just a technology project. And we don't just install Odoo, we develop business operating systems that improve performance, streamline processes, and support growth. As early adopters of AI, we've been helping clients integrate AI into Odoo on versions as early as Odoo 14. You'll see that later. We recognize the power of this tool early on and built a foundation to help our clients capture its benefits and apply it to successfully grow their businesses. So we think that we've got some experience here. We think it's relative to Odoo and to our client base. Obviously, AI is an exciting time as we move into utilizing this technology to extend our business, extend the ERP operating systems, and to get greater value. So we feel like it's a great time for us to kind of level set and give you our perspective, which is what Jason's going to take us into right now, and give us a little bit about what we see in the marketplace and why it's relevant for us today. So Jason, I'm going to hand things off to you.
Sure, thanks, David. So traditionally, Odoo has a specific theme in every version release. For example, 18 was stability and UI, and for 2025 this year, for Odoo 19, as you all know, the core focus is on embedding AI directly into your business processes. But before we show you all the exciting new AI features, I do want to take a step back and address why businesses, especially small, medium businesses, need to get on board with AI now, and what's the right mindset to approach AI. So mindset number one, which is shown here, is that AI is, first of all, no longer something that really you can put off to next year or even next month or even tomorrow. AI used it to be something only, big companies could afford due to cost of computing, access to reliable data, things like that. But thanks to the open source software like OpenAI and cloud computing nowadays, small businesses are now using AI to cut costs, obviously, to reach more customers. And most importantly, AI allows small businesses to close the competitive gap to the industry leaders, or in some cases, I would say even outmaneuver them. And all of this is hardly any news, as you can see from the slides here. 98% of US businesses, knowingly or unknowingly, will use one or more AI-enabled tool. 41% year-over-year increase on conscious AI adoption. 3/4 of SMBs already are investing in AI, and roughly about the same amount of them plan to increase their investment in 2026. So it's pretty clear that AI is really no longer a future opportunity. In fact, I would say this is more like a present mandate. Mind you, businesses are not suddenly going to go bankrupt if you don't integrate AI. But what you would see is that they will become progressively slower, progressively less efficient, and less relevant until one day they can no longer generate a sustainable profit. So that's mindset number one. The best time to implement this is yesterday, and the next best time is today. However, we're going to mindset number two. That doesn't mean that AI is going to make everyone a billionaire. In fact, far from it. So mindset number two is to be aware of all the pitfalls that comes along with AI implementation. There was a pretty widely reported study by MIT back in August. They talk about what they call the Gen AI divide. So what this quote unquote divide means is that essentially they find 95% of all AI pilot projects are failing to reach production with measurable impact. And think about that for a moment. Companies are sinking millions and millions of dollars into these pilot projects every day. And as you see in the funnel on the right, 80% of them explore them. So 20% of them stop at exploring. And then some go on to evaluate enterprise solutions, even smaller amount of them launch pilots, and only a mere 5% of them succeeded to deploy their solution to the market. So, however, not to discourage anyone, the rewards for those who succeeded are usually or almost always monumental. We're talking about micro startups by 19, 20-year-olds with maybe one or two SaaS, seeing their revenue jumps from 0 to 20 million in a year easily. So the real question is, why did the majority fail, right? So it's definitely not because of a lack of effort or shortage of innovative ideas. And in fact, it's often due to difficulties navigating the complexities of AI and from identifying the right tools to integrate with your existing infrastructures and sometimes scaling for real-world deployments. So that's number two. And now let's look at what the MIT found the 5% did right. David, if you can move to the next slide, please. Thanks. So the MIT found that there's 5 points. I summarized them here, but I'm just going to focus on point number 2 and 5, which I think are less intuitive. So point number 2 was focusing on scale-friendly tasks. It sounds pretty reasonable, but one of the main pitfalls that the MIT found is that a lot of enterprises try to replace humans with AI on really complicated logical decisions. So they try to reach for the stars and automate these kind of complex decision making, while you really should have tackled the high volume, low risk tasks that are fairly easy to repeat. Point number 5, so the last point at the very bottom, even more or even less intuitive, is to leverage proven and external solutions. So in this same study, I think this is the most interesting point, is that they found the partnerships with a solution provider will succeed twice as often as development that are completely in-house. In fact, it's 67% versus 33%. And so this is where specialist companies, kind of like Novobi, comes in to help corporations not just to experiment. So they help companies to kind of get through the first couple of stages, to not just experiment, but to transform with AI by showing you how to navigate the early stage hurdles, to show you how to scale and to capture real business values, where these are commonly the stages where business gets stuck at. So that's mindset number 3. Now, coming in with all these mindsets now, I think we're ready to show you a quick demo of 3 really common use cases of AI in the new Odoo 19. We're going to showcase you AI agents. So if you're familiar with MCP, Model Context Protocol, this is where AI is using external data, so data outside of the AI itself, to assist you to do something. Automation, where we use natural language processing to help eliminate the need of programming for you to automate things. And chatbots, which I guess everyone is familiar with by now, where AI is utilizing its internal knowledge to answer some questions. So let's start the video. Okay, here we go. So you know Odoo. So let's start by going to our contacts. Odoo now on top next to a chat bubble has an AI assistant right next to it. Basically what it does is it interprets the model that you're on. For example, in the context model, you can ask AI if I have any customers in Vietnam, for example. And because we're in the context model right now, it's gonna turn your query into SQL and all that. And you can see that it would say you have 1 customer's call, existing customer C from Vietnam, which is right there, I think the 4th line on the list view. You can also ask this to create visual reports. So I asked Odoo right now to map all my contacts onto a world map, and there we go. Of course, you can do bar charts and bar graphs. Now let's look at a potential customer, like a new potential customer who have some correspondence with him on Chatter. And you can also ask AI to summarize the entire Chatter conversation for us. Sometimes when it's super long, this is very helpful. And you can also, like every chatbot out in the market, ask it to write me a follow-up letter. And the cool thing is you can add more contacts. You can say you want to schedule this customer in tomorrow. And to go 1 step further, you can also make this more personal by asking maybe how has the customer's dog been, because he's a big dog lover. So like ChatGPT or Gemini, it's going to write you a lovely follow-up letter. And because this is so integrated with Odoo, you can just directly click on it and you can send a message or send an email. Of course, you can make further changes before sending it. I'm just going to discard it here for the demo purpose. So let's say the customer is happy and we're going to proceed to create an opportunity. So notice here, the salesperson here is myself. It will be relevant a little bit later. So yeah, the salesperson is administrator. And normally, once I created the opportunity, I'll just start to go through this Kanban flow. I'll drag the Kanban through different stages and finish the process. But let's say I want to spice things up with some automation, right? I want Odoo to automatically assign a salesperson when the opportunity is, let's say, set to qualify. So normally I would go into automation here, and you will need some Python programming experience to write it. So I'll have to, set a name, say assign salesperson when stage is set to qualified, and then I click add to action. I give this action a name. So let's say update lead with AI or something like that. And normally I'll have to click update record or execute code right underneath, and I'll have to start writing Python script. But now, thanks to AI, I can just write in natural language. So I can select update with AI, and I would select a field that I want to update with AI. So in this case, salesperson. And basically all I need to do is just start writing things in plain language. And so start to type, and you could type / to kind of link the field that you want to take the data from. And the interesting thing here is that you see here, I was kind of struggling. I was typing something and I wasn't quite sure where I'm going. That's because I was still thinking like a programmer. I was thinking, okay, how this logic should work, right? And I was going around and I didn't find what I need. And then I realized, oh wait, I was dealing with just natural language. So I can just type this whole logic out without thinking about, programming things. I'll just type assign the opportunity to the right person. And then I can start explaining to the AI, okay, what I mean is I'll assign to sales rep A if I think this is a new customer. So if the contact has no sales order, so I'm just going to select contact and sales order, and I'll say it's empty. And then otherwise, I'm just going to assign everything back to administrator, right? So again, I type in point form, otherwise assign to administrator. So that's all I need to do. So I don't need to really know Python. Actually, it was hindering my progress in some case. So if I save it, now I go back to the Kanban, and when I drag to the next stage, you can see it automatically changes the salesperson to sales rep A as I have requested the AI. And just to make sure it works, we'll create one more opportunity from an existing customer, so existing customer A, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to drag this to here, and it would not change. So this is, again, exactly what I have imagined or had in mind. Now, lastly, let's talk about chatbots. So let's say our AI follow-up letter about the .1 as a contract, and we're so happy, and we decide to go into our company policy and knowledge app and say you're allowed to bring your dog to work from now on, right? The cool thing about Odoo 19 is that it's very easy to create your own AI agent or chatbot in this case. So you can see here, there's the second one, Ask AI, is the default one, and I create a compliance assistant. So all I need to do is go into here, select what LLM model I want to use, GPT-4 in this case, and the style, and then I can choose that restrict to source, which means that I'm just gonna cater to the documents that I provided. So in here, you can see I can choose to upload a PDF, a web page, or an article from Knowledge. So in here, I have my company policy, which is the dog policy here. So I can ask it a question. So let's try to throw it off and say, can I bring my cat to work? And you'd see that the AI would say, the policy says you can only bring your dog to work. There's no mention of cats. So it's working perfectly. And of course, you can ask this something with more logic and more thinking power. So I also upload a Odoo Enterprise Agreement, a 30-page document here. I can ask it to briefly summarize the agreement for me. So imagine this becoming your HR team or your legal help desk, right? So imagine the time that you're going to save, the manpower that you're going to save from all these queries that are now automated. So that's a super lightning short introduction to a few of the AI capabilities in Odoo 19. Of course, there's a lot more that we couldn't show. But if you're interested in exploring more of these features or in a bigger scale, we will be happy to discuss them in more detail. But hopefully, I hope this gives you some initial food for thoughts for the rest of the webinar.
Thanks for taking us through that, Jason. That's pretty impressive about what you can do now just natively in 19. Periodically, I am going to take questions. I won't be able to get to all of them, but I want to at least address one per section. So I have one here for you, Jason. As we're looking to 19, we understand that people have to upgrade. That's part of the process. Does upgrading to Odoo 19 become more complicated because of its AI capabilities?
So the short answer is no, it doesn't become more complicated. And assuming all the audience here is either Odoo Enterprise users or Odoo Online users. For Odoo Online, it was automatic. So that's out of the question. For enterprise users, depending if you're on S6 or not. But basically, the process is more or less the same. You submit an upgrade request with your database, usually a zip file, to Odoo, and basically they're going to open a ticket. They're going to send you back the upgraded database if everything goes well, and you load the database back in, and if it was S6, it will automatically goes into newer version, and you're done. In the case it fails, it's going to give you a report saying that why it failed, and it's usually because of customizations, and you would have to address those either with a partner or on yourself. And this upgrade tool usually is available around 2-3 months after the initial Odoo 19 release. So somewhere late November or early December here, we're guessing, but it differs version by version.
Great. Thanks for answering that, Jason. Lee, I'm going to transition over to you now. Jason gave us obviously a good overview of, what we can expect in 19. And we just mentioned a little bit about upgrades. I know that there's been some changes in the upgrade scenarios and situations, and maybe you can take us through quickly kind of an overview of what this is and what we think that these changes are.
Yeah, thank you, David, and thank you, Jason. I love your demo. So I'm gonna share some information about the upgrade. So I have one good news for you. Last year, or earlier this year, Odoo announced a very important change. So all Odoo versions are now officially supported. However, I have also a not so good news. So if you are on a legacy version, a version that is more than 3 releases behind, the current version incur a 25% support fee on the annual subscription. So let me break it down by hosting so you can relate it to your own situation. For Odoo Online, if you are Odoo Online user, then you will have the automatic upgrade every 2 months, done by Odoo, therefore no extra fees incurred. If you are on Odoo SH, which is a little bit more complicated, your version is more than 5 releases behind the latest version, then you have to move off Odoo SH, and the only option left for you is to host on-prem. For on-prem, there's no enforced upgrade by Odoo, meaning that you can stay with your current version forever. However, we typically don't recommend it. I would like to also share some upgrade tips and best practices. So in our experience, the smaller the version gap is, the easier the upgrade would be. And we typically recommend our client to upgrade every 2 or 3 years if it's affordable for them, to minimize the version gap, right? And then secondly, we don't recommend our client to upgrade immediately after a major release comes out, but they should wait for 2 or 3 months for the new version to stabilize, for Odoo to address all the critical issues before you launch it. Right? So that's some information I want to share. Okay, so moving on. The right time to upgrade isn't when something breaks, but when staying on an older version of Odoo starting to slow you down. There's a lot of technical debt. So there's so many benefits of doing the upgrade. Like you will have access to more native features, a lot of performance improvements, optimization. You can address the tech debt if you upgrade. Because of our vast experience, Novobi has developed a process, as you can see here, so that we can ensure the upgrade would go as smoothly as possible, knowing the process can be sometimes challenging and painful if it's not done right. So if you want to also leverage AI in the new version, right? So we also recommend the phase approach that we outline here. First, we do the analysis to see what it takes to upgrade. We typically spend 2 to 6 weeks to perform the gap analysis, deciding on what module which can replace, review all your studio changes, assess your data quality in the legacy version, and then provide you with a proposal. Then we execute the upgrade, port the code base to the new version, We send the database to Odoo to upgrade, and then we perform several tests before doing the cutover. And then finally, when we, after we stabilize the system, usually it takes about 2 to 4 weeks for our team to help you with production issues. After that, AI comes. So AI can be a configuration where you can create like some sort of AI agent or set up the automation, as Jason just showed you earlier. For more complex use cases, it could require development. It could be like a custom enhancement to an existing module, or you have to create like a new module, or it could be a separate service and integrated with Odoo via API. This is where our expertise comes in. We'll, together with you, discover the AI needs, and we'll also design recommended approach, the technology, and together implement the solution with you.
Great. Thanks for taking us through that, Lee. I did have a question that I wanted to stop here and ask you. In this approach here that Novobi has created, you don't recommend addressing the AI kind of capabilities and enablement during the upgrade process. Can you explain why that is?
Yeah, so typically we want to take a phase, the phase approach so that we minimize the risk. Of course, version upgrade brings a lot of benefits, and it provides you with more features, performance improvements, and also AI is native in Odoo version 19. So if you have AI needs, then you don't have to spend time and money to customize Odoo for AI capabilities, but it's just simply as configuring the AI agent to do the work for you. So now you might be thinking, what if upgrading isn't really an option for you because maybe it's too costly or you have done a lot of customizations? Then the question may become, can you adopt AI? The good news is you don't have to upgrade just because Odoo is built on Python and it's open source. You can integrate AI into any version of Odoo. That flexibility is one of the biggest strengths compared to other ERP platforms. So here on the slide, I'd like to share with you a journey of one of our clients. They don't upgrade the Odoo, but they have been able to adopt AI to bring massive impacts to their business through various use cases, which I will share with you shortly. First of all, there are a few service companies that provide pool cleaning and filtering services to local customers. They started with Odoo Community and just a small invoicing and payment processing system. Soon they realized the potential of Odoo. They decided to upgrade the Odoo version and also consolidated all the core operations onto Odoo 14 Enterprise. They invested in building a mobile application for their field technicians, for field operation support. So those really brings a lot of value to the business. 156,000 more jobs completed per year, attributed to having a robust system and business processes and mobile application to streamline the field operations. Right. In 2024 and this year, with the rapid advancement of AI, they work with us to implement and deploy several AI-driven features to further optimize their operations. The AI quality check system enabled them to review 20 times more images for potential quality issues, significantly improve detection, issue detection accuracy. And then also there's a sentiment analysis agent has fully automated the triage and prioritization of incoming customer messages, making sure that their team take appropriate action to address urgent requests from customer on a timely manner, which used to be a problem in the past. Right. So I'd like to show you the overall system architecture that we implemented for this client. As you can see at the center is the Odoo system. It manages all the core business operations. The mobile applications integrated directly with Odoo Field Service app, enabling seamless coordination between field service and back office activities. The third-party services such as the payment gateway processors, tax engines, the banking system are connected through secure API. And on top of that, very important, we introduced several AI-driven enhancement on top of Odoo, highlight here in the purple boxes to further extend the system capability. And we have done all of this on Odoo version 14, which they're still using today. All right, so like I already mentioned about the use cases. I'm going to show you how we build it and show you a demo on how it works, right? So this is the sentiment analysis bot where it takes in SMS messages from customer, and we store those messages in Odoo, and we have an integration with OpenAI via API. We give it instruction to do the sentiment analysis and prioritize the incoming requests. And after that, AI is going to give us the criticality and urgency of the request, so that we can route it to the human CSR, or route it to an auto response agent. So before we deploy this system, someone will have to constantly check in messages, and the number of SMS that they have to go through is huge, and a lot of times they can miss messages, and that result in bad customer experience. All right, so I'm gonna show you how it works in Odoo. So we kind of build the customization on top of Discuss app. These are the channel. So this channel you're looking at is the channel that captures all the incoming messages from client. However, in this instance, we cannot map the client to an existing customer record. We usually use phone number to map it, but in this case, we're not able to map it, so that's why it just stay there. And then this is the channel where we receive a message, we compare a phone number, and we know, who is coming, who sent this message. And you can see that there's some tag that says critical. Those are the, previous messages that we received. So someone would have to monitor this channel. And, just a moment ago, you can see that there's a new incoming message. And, so right now, what the system is doing is after receiving this message, AI is going to work on it, doing the sentiment analysis, check out the message, and kind of auto tagging this message based on the content. And by reading the message, it see that this is a critical request from a customer. So someone will have to go and take action immediately. You have two options. You can assign it to yourself as the customer service rep, or you can assign it to someone on your team to handle this incoming request from client. So assuming that I want to take on this one, I can check the content of the message. I'm just gonna click on the customer conversation right there. It will take me to this window where I see all the all the interaction with the client, and also the message that they just sent us. So it looks like after we service the pool, there's some sign-up leaking, so we have to take care of it. We need to send a technician on site as soon as possible to address the issue. So I'm just gonna log a note right here, and then our service team will receive a notification, and it will take appropriate action right away. There's also some other action that you can do, is like send an on the way note to let the customer that we're sending help, and then or you can even reply to the customer sending an SMS message to them. And then after the issue is resolved, you can mark it as complete. Just click on complete, and this is just the little survey that we collect the information to see how our AI performs. All right, good. So the second use case here, and it brings massive impact to the operation. we deploy an integration with OpenAI for quality check. So when the technicians perform a field service, they're required to take before and after photos. And they submit those photos to Odoo via their field service mobile app that I talked about earlier. And we have OpenAI to basically check out those images to assess the quality and detect quality issues, if any. Previously, there's a lot of a lot of people doing this work internally in the QA QC team. But after we have, and then the way they do it is like manual inspection. They check randomly a couple images. They don't have time to go through all of them. And after we deploy this one, they only look at the one with like quality issues, and it results in about 700% productivity gains. So once AI kind of look at those images and categorize, the issues, then it can also suggest a score to decide whether the quality check is passed or failing. Okay, I'm going to show you how it works in Odoo. So this is just the setup that I want to show. Basically, you can give AI an instruction to scan those images uploaded by a technician. It will look for certain criteria. For example, what's the water level, the water cleanliness, and it's giving the score from 1 to 10, for each of the criterion. And then it has an input builder, which you can use, Python code to basically process your input, and then a response process for you to process the output from AI. And then here's the job report. So basically you can see those images have been uploaded for this, after the technician completed the job. So they're required to take pictures from different angles, different equipments after you install. And then AI would do its job and basically scan through those images and detect quality issues, and it generate a quality report, which is showing on the screen right now. So you can see that the AI comments has been populated. AI is looking at the equipment area, water clarity, water level, water color, and it's also see if there's any form of bubbles on the pool, and it assign a score, usually ranging from 1 to 10 per our definition, and then it's also a sign of weight, like how important a criterion is. And then you can see it assign overall score of 75 for this job, meaning it's passing the quality check. So I'm going to show you a next example where we have a job report, but AI is not able to capture the information or do analysis. So in this very example, some images were poorly taken by the technician. So we expected clearer picture with the right angle. In this case, we weren't able to see those. So therefore, AI couldn't kind of do the quality check on these images. And because we have limited time, I would like to conclude those use case demo here and take a couple of questions.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Lee, for taking us through that. Wonderful to see how we're exposing the possibilities of AI, even on older versions that aren't Odoo 19. We do have a couple of questions that have popped in. I want to just address those. The first one is, maybe Jason, you can answer this. Is there a difference in Odoo performance for different LLMs? The versions of OpenAI, ChatGPT, and all the different models that he uses. Are there things that we need to be aware of which models to use?
Right. So that's actually a good question. Considering right now Odoo 19 only realistically or natively let you select from two brands, so to say, Gemini from Google or ChatGPT from OpenAI. So just to compare those two, in performance-wise, it's not hugely different. I mean, in most of the use case, they will be pretty much equivalent. But if you have to say, then ChatGPT or GPT-5 would be a little bit better for logical questions and reasoning. However, it's again, first of all, it's marginal. Second of all, if you want to consider on the cost performance side, then Gemini would be quite a bit cheaper if you have a lot of requests. And plus, I believe Gemini is it also performs better if you have a longer context. Like if you have a very long prompt, it will perform better. So the answer is that it really depends on your use case. But yeah, just keep in mind that you can only use Google or OpenAI for now in Odoo 19 natively. You can't use other things like Claude and Grok.
Thanks, Jason. I think that clears that up. I do have a couple of other questions, and Lee, these will be for you. The first one is for older version clients, is the Novobi Field Services app required to leverage AI in Odoo?
No. So basically, that mobile field service app is to streamline the field service operation support. For Odoo and AI integration, we will deploy AI in a way that is built in on top of those existing module, or we create like custom module, so it functions more on the backend side of things. Yeah, so we have to discover the needs from our client, decide what is in the process, what step in the process that makes the most sense to integrate with AI and what value it can bring, and then from there we design a solution and the architecture for the integration. But the short answer to your question is no. You don't have to deploy the mobile application in order to leverage AI. It's built within the Odoo backend.
Great. Thanks for that. Related to that same thing, we had a question around whether clients can deploy those use cases that you showed that were integrated into the field service app. Can they do that on their own? So the question is, can clients do that on their own?
The short answer is no. It's not a package solution, a package module that you can deploy similar to those on the Odoo App Store. So this is tailored to the use case of our client, and although we can reuse a lot of the code that we have created, because we did create a framework to integrate with AI so that a lot of that can be reused. So it depending on your use case, we'll see where it makes the most sense to integrate with your current workflow, and then we can deploy, but we need to make some changes to the integration and as well as the input and output data processor to make it work.
All right. Jason, I'm going to give this next question to you, and I'm not sure whether we actually know it or not, but maybe you've got something that in your pocket that I don't. We have a question that says, is Anthropic AI on the roadmap for what will be available in Odoo AI?
Right. So at this stage, I don't believe it's on Odoo's roadmap. Of course, if you want to do a customization, of course, you can use any LLMs that you want. But it seems like right now that's not the case. What we see is that from Odoo 19 day one up till today, they keep adding support for more variations of OpenAI and Google AI chatbots, but they don't seem to have the appetite to venture into other brands yet.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right. Well, I told you at the beginning of the webinar that we had a couple of exclusive offers, and I want to go through those with you. For those of you that have stayed for the entire session, I hope you'll find this valuable for you. You know, as we've talked through kind of the journey to get to using Odoo and AI together, I think kind of the path that you need to take, the journey and the fork in the road is really around upgrading. And so, you know, if you are interested in Odoo 19 and kind of see upgrading as your path, and that's the destination that you would like to get to, we'd like to offer you the chance to utilize an Odoo 19 sandbox, and you'll gain access to Odoo 19 there, and we'll establish and enable ChatGPT API there for you so that you can take a look at the capabilities and how that will work in that environment for Odoo 19, play around with that a little bit, become familiar with it, and obviously, you know, have some ideas about how long and how you will get there. And so that's one offer. To make use or take advantage of that offer, there's a QR code at the bottom of the page, and all you have to do is take out your phone, uh, turn on the camera and aim it at the QR code, and you're going to get access to Lee's calendar. So that's not something that we often do, but we're going to expose his calendar and give you the opportunity to book something with him directly. When you do book that call about Odoo 19 Sandbox, he'll come onto that call with the appropriate Novobi resources, and we'll talk about provisioning that sandbox for you and kind of talk about what you're trying to achieve there. And maybe there's some things that we can help you walk through and model so you'll get the best of that experience. The other side of that, if upgrading isn't in your future, we'd really like to encourage you to take advantage of a Novobi AI discovery where we can discuss with you and identify and prioritize the ways that AI will have the greatest impact on your business. Again, the call to action is the same thing. Your phone, turn on the camera, point to the QR code, and book that call with Lee. He'll gather the resources necessary to have that discussion with you based on your industry so that we can get the right experts on board. And we'll discuss with you, you know, what that looks like, how we may be able to work with you to identify the priorities and what the next steps would be. So if that's something you would like to do, I'd encourage you to do that. I'm sure that his calendar is going to fill up very quickly. We only have a limited available slots for these types of things. So if you are interested, I encourage you to do that today so that we can get you booked and we can start these discussions. So that's it for our webinar today. I want to thank all of you. I especially thank Jason and Lee for the information that they provided and guided us through Odoo 19 and use cases for pre-Odoo 19, Odoo 14 use cases there. Greatly appreciate the knowledge that they shared, and I want to thank each of you for participating through the entire call. This is a event that we're going to replicate into the future, meaning that we're going to have more webinars as we go into 2026. We have a couple of things that we have scheduled and have discussed internally, but if you have some ideas of areas of Odoo or are enabling your business and getting it set for growth that you would like to have us discuss, please contact me directly. I'd love to have that conversation with you and find out what you're interested in. And I encourage you to do that so that we can get that scheduled. So again, thank you. We're going to end the session now and look for your inbox when we post this onto the website, and you'll have access to the recording. Hope you have a great day.